Okay, picture this. You wake up as the disposable secretary in a toxic BO novel, but you've got a secret weapon, a time rewind wallet. Screw up, ding, reset. Perfect cheat code, right? Wrong. The biggest, most dangerous alpha villain just showed up, and he's the only one who remembers every single rewind. Swimming almost reaches the edge. Ding, back to the middle. Elevator, doors close. Ding! Back to floor 1. Again and again, he should be furious, but instead he is getting dangerously obsessed with you. So what happens when you, the secretary who can rewind fate, meet the villain who never forgets? Let's find out.
Andrew, organize the call log. Andrew, go pick up Oliver.
Shut up. Can't you do it yourself?
In the vast conference room, Andrew opened his eyes. A collective intake of breath echoed around him. Where am I? Just before his memory faded. He seemed to be in a university classroom, listening to an older professor's lecture. What a familiar name. Could this really be the main character from that dramatic novel that dragged on for over chapters? Last night, he accidentally came across a recommendation for this overly dramatic novel. Oliver, the main character who tends to be insecure and sensitive, and James, the main character with a blunt personality and poor communication skills, countless misunderstandings between them, endless obstacles in their relationship, enduring over chapters of emotional hardship, heart-wrenching tension, and unforgettable drama. Wait a minute. Could Andrew possibly be that nameless supporting character from the story, the one who clears obstacles for the company, helps advance the main couple's relationship, and ultimately sacrifices himself to protect James, the lead male protagonist? A voice suddenly appeared in his mind. I'm your system rollback coin purse. You can also call me Doraemon. A coin purse appeared in Andrew's hand, the coins clinking softly, each one marked with a value of second. There was a jingle. Sound as a handful of coins made a crisp noise. Current balance of the revert coin purse, seconds. Time around him reversed, returning to 10 seconds earlier, just before Andrew had spoken boldly.
Andrew,
James began in the meeting room, issuing a task.
go pick up Oliver.
Andrew was about to speak out angrily, but quickly held his words back. He remembered reading in the book that Andrew had a genetic condition. Without this job and its income, he would deteriorate much faster. Andrew was capable of adapting when needed.
I'll go right away.
The drive from the company to Oliver's location took about half an hour. During that half hour, Andrew reflected on his usual routine. He had seen comments online saying that whenever the main characters just said,
Andrew, go handle it.
he'd somehow managed to gather even the stars in the sky and string them together one by one. Though he's often seen as a supporting character, Andrew plays a crucial role in the later part of the story, especially during the confrontation with Leo, the younger brother of the novel's main antagonist, James. System alert,
I won't provoke him.
Andrew said.
I value my life too much.
The car pulled up in front of a certain sports arena. Andrew recalled the storyline. Oliver, who was currently working as a live streaming gamer, should have just finished hosting a major esports match commentary. After getting lost for only 10 minutes, he finally found Oliver trembling in the guest lounge. A couple was giving Oliver a stern verbal reprimand. Andrew remembered. Oliver, a bit of a misfortunate soul, had a family full of vampire relatives. They'd pop up now and then, adding dramatic tension to the story in an almost forced way. Brother is getting married, and it's about time someone stepped in to help, Oliver's alpha father said. She's living with the giant family now, always out in public, putting on a show, never checking how things are at home.
I didn't.
The growing noise drawing more attention made Oliver tremble as he said softly,
Dad, Mom. Let's talk about this later. Let's go back somewhere private. Please.
After a few steps, Andrew stopped in front of Oliver.
Matt.
Andrew said, doing his best to stay in character with visible effort.
James sent me to bring you home.
Oliver looked up with a dazed expression. every time he had a disagreement with James. It was always the secretary who came to fetch him. No matter where he ran off to or how upset he got, the other party would always show up right on time, quietly taking him back to James without hesitation, no matter how unwilling Oliver was. He lowered his gaze. After all, Andrew would handle everything for him. What kind of return are you talking about? The alpha man suddenly raised his voice. Oliver is someone we're responsible for. We don't just let you take him away like that,
That makes sense.
Andrew said.
Then you keep him.
He didn't want to get involved in the first place. The alpha man's anger faded, and he momentarily froze in place. Andrew, the alpha man said in a calmer tone, we need a place to stay. We don't have enough money. We could use some help from family.
Need a place to stay?
Andrew asked.
Is there a specific time you need to move in?
Hearing this, a pleased look appeared on the alpha man's face. No. As long as there's a place to lie down, it's okay. We can move in at any time. We're not picky.
All right,
Andrew said.
just a moment.
Oliver opened his mouth as if to speak, but no words came out. He wanted to say that his adoptive parents were insatiable. Even if he satisfied them this time, there would be more demands in the future. They would never be content. Andrew's only task was to bring him back to James. Andrew dragged a number from his phone list and dialed.
Hello, is it still available? I'd like to place an order. Payment will be processed from James's account. Phone number?
He turned to Oliver's older brother. The other person playfully reported a number.
Just wait.
Andrew said.
You'll receive a message on your phone soon. Wishing you a smooth move in. This is yours alone. And it can't be transferred to anyone else.
That's definitely for personal use, the other said. Is the neighborhood Andrew bought quiet enough?
It's quite peaceful.
Andrew said.
I guarantee you'll be satisfied. Now, can I take care of your wife?
Sure, the other person said.
Let's go back. Matt,
Andrew said, turning to Oliver without hesitation.
I have another meeting to attend shortly.
Oliver followed closely behind him, meek and compliant. As they got into the vehicle, not long after pulling away, Alpha Brother called. What? Has the next demand of the vampire-like family refreshed so quickly this time? Indeed. Once their demands were met, Oliver, his Alpha Brother shouted over the phone, You had someone order a tomb for me. You're in serious trouble. Zioshi Group. The main antagonist of the entire book, Leo, was respectfully escorted into the conference room by his loyal assistant. Leo, you've just returned from abroad and taken over Zioshi Group. Let me give you a brief overview of the current situation, the assistant said. Right now, the most trusted person around the eldest son is Andrew, the top secretary with a proven record, the assistant said. From my analysis, if you're aiming to take full control of the company, your biggest challenge isn't the young master, it's Andrew. Leo's gaze shifted slightly. At the conference room entrance, unnoticed until that moment, stood a slender and upright Omega youth. The person was thin-built, wearing a simple white shirt and a neatly tied tie. He was lowering his eyes and recording something on the clipboard in his hands. Occasionally, when someone passed by and greeted him, he just nodded slightly without answering.
Him.
Leo asked. This Omega is as taciturn as an NPC with incomplete voiceovers. How ruthless can he be? It's quite rare that he is so good-looking. There is a small philtrum bead between his cold and slightly pursed lips, and his lip color is a bit pale. In addition, this face is so delicate that there is not a single flaw to be found. Right now, Andrew must be thinking about how to get rid of you, Leo's assistant said with an exaggerated tone. He's determined to completely undermine the new manager who just arrived at the company. Andrew gave a distant, half-hearted reply to everyone passing by, scribbling a string of desperate notes in his notebook. He had a bad timing when he parachuted into this book. It was like landing on his face. He just happened to catch up with the biggest villain in the whole book parachuting into the company, Leo, the male lead's younger brother. had been watching him closely ever since he walked in, clearly having recognized him as his rival according to the story's plot. Andrew had never felt so distinctly the physical difference between alphas and omegas in an Abo novel. Leo truly was much taller and more imposing. The other person has broad and strong shoulders and back. He looks of better build than an omega. One slap from him could make Andrew return to his original state. He sat across from Leo and opened his file folder to shield his face. James began the meeting, having just shared his thoughts on the upcoming company event, when Leo, sitting across from Andrew, raised his hand.
I disagree,
Leo said.
It would be a shame not to use such a great opportunity as the company gala for promotion.
The so-called villain truly lived up to the reputation. Just after taking over the company's management, he challenged James's opinion right away. Andrew pulled himself deeper into his chair, trying to make himself as unnoticed as possible and avoiding any attention from the man who seemed like a force to be reckoned with, only daring to glance sideways. Leo's gaze drifted over him briefly. Then he engaged James in a few exchanges about the annual event plan, his slender fingers spinning a pen between them. "Young master," said Leo's assistant. "Andrew's been giving you sideways glances all along." "Assistant, you're talking to his boss like this. He must want to secretly kill you. You should know that there are still many bad people in the world." Leo glanced briefly at the Omega across from him. Andrew remained quiet, his pale hands tightly gripping a pen, the tips of his fingers turning slightly red from the pressure. A faint smirk curled at Leo's lips.
He doesn't have the courage.
Andrew was quietly jotting down the meeting notes, his mind a little distant. James and Leo had a tense rivalry, their viewpoints clashing several times with increasingly sharp words.
The company's senior management are mostly older. They prefer to stay behind the scenes and aren't fond of your aggressive approach,
James said.
Are you really trying to drive them to illness? That's perfect. Those who are older should make way for the next generation,
Leo said.
I stand by my proposal, unless young master sends someone to bury me.
James,
I didn't mean to.
Right after he spoke, a message popped up on James's phone, which was connected to the meeting room computer screen. Bill alert. Hello, Leo. The grave plot you purchased has been prepared. The buyer is Andrew, totaling 1. The invoice has been sent to your email.
Andrew.
James frowned.
What did you just buy, Andrew?
Leo said, his expression half smile, half challenge.
Are you really testing me?
The meeting paused, and employees who supported James began murmuring quietly, Andrew. No wonder he makes such a strong first impression right away. Andrew didn't even speak. Yet he already had second master at his mercy. If you want to challenge James, you'll have to step over our Andrew first. Ha! Did I give you permission to step on me? Huh. And by the way, are you guys even trying to whisper? This isn't a quiet conversation, it's an open conspiracy. Leo finally stopped his relaxed gaze and studied the person in front of him carefully. Andrew didn't respond to his question, simply lowering his eyelashes with a distant expression, as if he hadn't given him a second thought. Just charging in like this, showing no fear at all. Do you really think you're that strong? Such a striking appearance, and secretly sharp underneath. That must make dealing with him far more interesting than usual opponents. Andrew's inner voice was screaming in distress.
He's staring at me. Hurry up.
Andrew said.
Undo it, undo it.
The special ability is on cooldown. It will reset at midnight. Maybe it's better to just give in. Please let me off the hook. Without a chance to turn back, Andrew could only nervously lift his head.
I'm sorry,
he said.
This wasn't meant as a personal offense. It's just a misunderstanding.
It was certainly an awkward situation, but I suppose it's just a misunderstanding.
Good. Then it's just a misunderstanding,
Leo said, turning to James.
No matter how different our opinions may be, we're all thinking about Zioshi Group. Let's avoid any hard feelings. What do you think, brother?
Yes,
James said.
That's right. We're all just trying to do what's best for the company. Here's what we can do.
Leo said.
Dreaming won't help. Let my team and your team each prepare a proposal. Then meet again to go over them line by line and assess their feasibility. How does that sound? Agree?
James said. Leo's fingers twitched, and his assistant handed him a pen. He quickly jotted down a schedule on a sheet and passed it to James. James's fingers moved slightly. After waiting half a minute without getting the pen, he glanced at Andrew, who was still in standby mode, then took Leo's pen and made a few marks on the paper, writing something down.
Let's reconvene with all the leadership team next week, at this time,
Leo said. The meeting felt like an exam with questions far beyond what had been studied, having to sit through it anyway. After finally getting out of it, Andrew hurried off to the cafeteria, grabbing a few pastries and bringing them back to his small office to satisfy his hunger.
These snacks in this abo world are actually quite tasty.
Right. If you're in an abo world and still an Omega, there must be a scent, right?
Sister, what's my scent?
Andrew sniffed at his own wrist. I don't have a nose. Andrew, there's a faint scent from the gland at the back of your neck. Want to try? Andrew asked.
It's said to be at the back of the neck. Can you still smell it if the head is gone?
Clang. The knife landed on the table.
Elimination.
Andrew asked. Blood has a scent too? Driven by intense curiosity about pheromones, Andrew took the knife and gently nicked his finger. The intercom phone in the secretary's office rang.
James, anything wrong?
He asked.
Andrew,
The voice said.
we're all set to leave for tonight's dinner event.
Andrew started to refuse.
I don't think I'll.
Andrew attends a dinner event with a yuan reward.
I'm not tired at all.
Andrew said.
You're the one who's saying that. I'll be there soon.
He grabbed a tissue and quickly wiped his fingertip, then pushed open the door and darted into the elevator. The mirror inside the elevator showed his face and figure, exactly as they had always been. As for the extra trait labeled Omega, he didn't feel it made much difference right now. Going from one story to another isn't a problem for someone as resilient as a college man. As long as James stays calm and doesn't argue, he won't end up getting hurt trying to protect Oliver, who's been taken by the villain. As long as he stays low-key and cautious, Leo won't go after him. Just a few small challenges. Nothing that can't be overcome. All the novels you want to read have already been downloaded for you at Hidden Haven Bookstore. Zioshi Group's basement parking lot.
Am I riding with Leo? Should I be driving?
Andrew was speechless.
Daniel has something tonight and won't be able to attend the dinner.
James said on the phone.
I'm driving Oliver over first, so you'll take my younger brother. Is there an issue with that? Andrew, my brother just has his own perspective. He's not unfriendly toward me. He was brought in to lead Zioshi, so he's effectively your supervisor. I'll add 2,000 extra,
James said.
That's settled. I'm heading out to meet a friend. Let's go, Andrew.
The passenger side window rolled down, revealing Leo's face.
Drive carefully. I'll take a quick nap.
Leo.
Or, maybe you really do have some kind of issue with me.
Actually,
Andrew said.
we could just take a cab.
Drive.
Leo said. The evening breeze stirred the soft strands of hair across Andrew's forehead as he kept his head slightly lowered. The white shirt fluttering in the wind made him look even more slender. He pressed his lips together tightly, then wordlessly pulled open the car door and stepped into the driver's seat. Leo's lips curled ever so slightly. He told himself he didn't enjoy forcing people's hands, but he had to admit that Andrew, usually so composed and aloof, now with a faint frown between his brows, looked oddly pleasing to watch. The slender fingers of the Omega gently picked up the black seatbelt and fastened it across their chest. For now, the slight embarrassment from this afternoon's meeting was returned in kind. Leo turned down the air conditioning a notch or two.
Go,
He said.
I'll close my eyes for a bit.
First, he had gotten his driver's license when he turned 18, but hadn't touched a car in over a year since then. Second, the cars in this abo world seemed to look nothing like the ones he'd learned to drive. Third, driving was definitely something he'd rather handle in a document than behind the wheel. Fourth, fine, let's just drive then. He honked the horn, shifted gears, and pressed down on the accelerator. Leo's seat clicked loudly as it reclined backward, causing him to lie flat, and the car started moving in reverse. Thanks to his quick reaction, Leo unbuckled his seatbelt, sat up straight, and activated the emergency automatic brake within just a few seconds.
Leo, are you okay?
Andrew asked politely.
Fine.
Leo said.
I just wanted to rest my eyes for a moment.
Leo said.
Not just closing them. Get out.
Leo said.
I'll drive.
This secretary, so calm in appearance and sharp in spirit, wasn't she just supposed to be a driver? Why would she suddenly act this way? Andrew gave a slightly apologetic look as he moved to the passenger seat.
Coin purse.
He asked the system silently.
Can I only rewind one day at a time?
Not necessarily. As long as you put in the effort, I can upgrade too.
Like what?
Andrew asked. For example, a % increase in Zyoshi Group's revenue. Boosting the original protagonist's emotional connection is also acceptable.
Andrew.
Leo suddenly spoke up.
Hmm.
Andrew exited the chat with the system.
Did you cut your hand?
Leo asked.
Count as an injury at work.
Andrew said excitedly.
Is there compensation?
Leo paused for 2 seconds.
No.
Andrew.
Then it's not broken.
Speaking of which, he glanced down at the cut on his fingertip, already crusted over, and quietly sniffed it, so faint that he couldn't make out what it was. The car pulled up near the hotel, and before Andrew had even stepped out, he spotted Oliver standing by the roadside through the window. Oliver was wrapped in an elegant coat, trembling slightly in the wind as he stood there.
Madam,
Andrew said.
why aren't you coming inside?
Oliver pressed his lips together and shook his head with a shy expression. Andrew remembered that in the original story, their marriage had been an unexpected turn of events, with vastly different backgrounds. Among James's circle of elite friends, Oliver often felt insecure and self-doubting, believing he wasn't worthy of James, sometimes even being hard on himself. Facing James's group of admirers from the upper class, Oliver became especially flustered and unsure of how to act.
It's cold out here.
Andrew said.
Let me take my wife inside.
Leo had just parked the car and turned around when he saw Andrew guiding his sister-in-law toward the ballroom. A small spot of red marked the steering wheel, likely from a nick on Andrew's fingertip. A hint of red also stained his fingertip, and he quickly wiped it with a tissue. A faint jingle echoed, as if a coin had dropped onto the ground. Leo didn't see the coin. He locked the car and shut the door. In the banquet hall, Oliver, who was sensitive and insecure, was starting to lose his composure.
They said, I'm not good enough for him.
Oliver's eyes were slightly red.
They said, I don't deserve to be with him.
For some reason, in these past few days, Andrew had made him feel a strong urge to open up. Andrew was eyeing a small cake when, upon hearing this, he rummaged through his bag and shoved a stack of papers into Oliver's hands.
I'm just going to grab a bite of cake,
he said.
If anyone says anything about you, give them one too.
What is this?
Copy of your marriage certificate,
Andrew said. The party offered free food and even some pocket money. So Andrew grabbed a tray and started picking out small cakes one by one. Leo arrived just in time to see Andrew standing near the sofa where Oliver was, being approached by an alpha man. Andrew, the alpha man asked with a forced, high-pitched tone, care for a drink? The man was a partner from Zyoshi Group, someone Andrew had met a few times before, but this was the first time he'd shown interest in striking up a conversation. Andrew is an Omega. What's his scent like? The alpha man asked. Any plans to settle down? Andrew was in the middle of eating a small cake when he was interrupted, and it annoyed him. Without hesitation, he simply replied,
formaldehyde.
Leo's lips twitched slightly. It was actually grape. The alpha man who had approached for a chat took a few steps back. Never mind, he said, sounding disappointed. Back when Andrew had accompanied him to various events, his strikingly handsome face had drawn more than a few approaches from strangers. But Andrew usually just gave a cold reply
I'm working?
and didn't respond any further. He looked up and froze in place.
What's wrong?
Andrew turned, just after clearing a cherry cake enemy. Oliver gave a gentle shake of his head, looking a little shy.
Andrew hasn't smiled like that in ages.
My line. The main character's so impressive. You're stealing all the classic lines.
The cherry cupcake isn't that special.
Oliver whispered.
The lemon one over there tastes better. Wants to get it, Andrew.
This drama's not really my thing. But those little treats in the book, they're absolutely irresistible. Andrew was about to say,
Sure.
when Leo's teasing voice came from behind.
Andrew, earning 12,000 a night just for a little cake.
Leo asked.
Only doing my duty as secretary.
Andrew said firmly.
What kind of duty?
Leo asked.
Protecting the lady by tasting each treat first.
Andrew said with a composed smile.
Let me test these delicate little pastries for the lady.
Andrew said, as Oliver grabbed his wrist and pulled him toward the desserts. Still managing to toss back to Leo.
You're free to go about your own business.
This evening event was a high society gathering, and Leo hadn't returned in quite some time. Plenty of people came over to chat with him. After exchanging pleasantries with several guests, he spotted his older brother James talking with someone.
Back already?
James greeted him.
How was Andrew's driving? The acceleration was intense.
Leo said.
Felt like I was riding a mountain trail.
James didn't quite catch it, but simply said,
You're here now. And Andrew's made his peace. He's put the morning meeting incident behind him.
Leo let out a quiet scoff. No apology. But a sharp reverse drift was pulled off instead, almost as if the stubborn defiance and challenge were written plainly in those calm, distant eyes, despite being so composed and intelligent. His scent carried a surprisingly sweet note. Still, in the end, he was just a reserved and stubborn assistant, useful but distant. He hadn't really done anything to offend him, so letting it go wasn't entirely unreasonable.
Where's Andrew?
James asked. Leo nodded toward the self-service food area.
He's with his wife.
Leo's phone buzzed briefly, an incoming call from his assistant, so he stepped aside to answer it.
What is it?
He asked. Boss, Daniel said. I checked the company's internal network and found something interesting. Oliver truly fit the role of the unlucky protagonist in a dramatic story. Having already dealt with 3 groups of people coming to challenge him while he was enjoying his snack. Is this the little streamer who happened to get involved with James after being drugged? Someone said.
She's not even that attractive. James will soon lose interest and leave her behind.
There's proof.
Andrew said, handing out a copy of their marriage certificate.
They stay together no matter what.
Not long after, another person arrived.
What's going on with this event? Is it really open to someone like a small streamer? Do you have an invitation? Why you? Hello.
Oliver nervously handed over a copy.
I'm here for my husband's dinner party. No invitation needed.
There were so many dramatic plot devices in cliché stories, and Andrew was worn out from dealing with them all. He didn't even give people a chance to speak, handing out the marriage certificate copy at every new arrival. Oliver went from stunned silence to calm composure, finding unexpected comfort in this high-pressure gathering. Everyone seemed watchful and competitive, so much so that he even pulled out his phone and played 2 quick rounds of a game. This reminded Andrew of part of the original story. The main character was a gaming streamer who also hosted esports commentary, but due to repeated emotional setbacks and constant interference from minor characters around him, his career had been constantly blocked. The emotional hardships in the early part of this story seemed to mostly fall on Oliver. Another set of footsteps approached. Andrew didn't look up, treating the copy like a charm and slapping it flat against the other person's abdomen. Andrew looked up in confusion. Leo was standing above him, calm and composed. His fingertip brushed through the thin paper and a layer of shirt fabric, almost feeling the firm shape of the other's abdominal muscles. Hard and solid. Andrew thought to himself. Leo grabbed his wrist and pulled it away from his lower abdomen.
Andrew, Come with me for a moment.
he said. Andrew stood up dazedly and followed along. Whether it was due to the strength of an alpha or his own thin skin, a faint red mark appeared on Andrew's wrist where it had just been held. Oliver looked up. Leo towered so much taller that the figure in the white shirt seemed even more slender and delicate by comparison. In the hallway, far from the noise of the ballroom, Andrew paused cautiously.
What did you want to say, young master?
He asked.
Let's talk right here.
He leaned against the wall, the stark difference in their sizes making him feel uneasy.
Are you afraid?
Leo asked. Andrew said nothing. His eyelashes lowered as his gaze drifted gently toward the floor.
Help me.
Andrew silently pleaded.
It's not like I refuse to drive him. Why is he acting this way?
Take a look at this.
Leo tapped his phone screen to turn it on, then handed over a document for Andrew to see. What is this? Andrew's eyes widened as he read aloud.
Analysis report on Leo's appointment to oversee Zyoshi. Leo, ambitious, defiant, prone to outbursts. Two leaders can't coexist peacefully. This might be harmful to the company.
Who wrote this? Really good at tearing someone down. Every time he read a word, the air around him seemed to grow colder, as if an invisible force was pressing on him, making his legs feel weak.
Andrew, shut up.
A voice came from beside him. The Alpha's finger rested on his cheek, applying a bit of pressure that made him tilt his head upward slightly, just enough to catch the signature at the end of the document. Evaluator, Andrew. Andrew was in a terrible situation. He'd issued a challenge that left no room for escape, and now, as a year-old college student, he had to face the backlash meant for the antagonist. His cheek stung slightly from the pressure, and the height difference forced him to tilt his head up, meeting the other's sharp gaze directly.
Andrew,
Leo asked.
did you enjoy calling me names? I was brought in from outside and placed at the same level as James. Technically not your direct superior, but still your boss.
Leo said.
So punishing you today for disrespecting a superior and attempting to sabotage one, it's completely fair, isn't it?
Tell the truth now. The system was shouting.
What kind of punishment do you think is fair?
Leo asked.
Maybe just a raise in pay. How about that?
Andrew said. Leo let out a laugh.
Reason.
Andrew.
Back in ancient times, there was a minister who spoke boldly to the emperor and got rewarded with a large sum of money. So does that mean I deserve a pay raise too?
The hand gripping his cheek eased up slightly. In the dim hallway light, the Omega's profile was striking, with a faint red mark now visible along one cheek. He hadn't applied much force, yet the mark stood out sharply against the Omega's pale skin.
Andrew,
Leo paused, then added with a smirk.
you don't need to pretend to be playing some clever game with me.
Andrew,
A soft voice came from the hallway side.
are you ready? I need you.
Oliver,
I'm coming.
Andrew said. Time to make a quick exit. Back in the original story, Oliver was such a sweet kid. Oliver glanced back at Leo standing deep in the hallway, shivered slightly, and pointed toward the dining area.
Those little pastries over there are really good too.
Let's go eat.
Andrew said, his legs feeling weak. The party lasted longer than expected, but with Andrew around, not many people bothered Oliver tonight. Just after midnight, he heard the system's alert sound. The ultimate move is ready. The rollback coin purse has arrived, and you have 3 minutes to use it. The daily usage limit for the rollback coin purse has been adjusted to 3 times.
Yes.
Andrew felt thrilled.
Sister, you've really leveled up.
The emotional bond between James, the original story's recipient, has shifted.
The trial version yesterday didn't feel very satisfying.
Andrew rubbed his hands together eagerly.
I'm ready to test out the new features now.
Try me. I'm really useful. Meanwhile, in a high-end residence, ripples were spreading across the private swimming pool. Leo had swum 2 laps, and the cool water helped calm his mind. As the slight warmth caused by the grape-scented Omega pheromones gradually faded away, he loved swimming, especially the feeling of being in control of the waves. His body and mind both relaxed, and he never felt tired no matter how long he swam. All right? He was calm enough now. The time to get out had come. The poolside was just ahead, and Leo reached out to grab the ladder by the edge. Ding dong. The ladder that had been within reach suddenly vanished far away. What? Did I just imagine that? Leo swam again. Slowly closing the distance to the ladder, the finish line was in sight. Ding dong. He was back in the center of the pool again. Leo muttered. Could this be a dream? This time, he swam hard toward the shore and grabbed the ladder to climb out. Transparent droplets slid slowly down Alpha's chest and abdomen. In an instant, splash, water flew up as he landed back in the center of the pool. I can't stay calm anymore. Please let me get out of the water. At Andrew's home, Andrew completed his system test.
Works perfectly.
Andrew exclaimed enthusiastically.
It feels amazing.
Who else has a lucky rewind system for gacha pulls?
I guess I just didn't have good luck before.
Andrew said.
If I go back a few seconds and try again, I'll definitely get something.
There was a notification on the phone. Andrew looked toward his phone.
Olive
Has sent a friend request.
Andrew.
Aren't you asleep yet, my dear?
Oliver.
I'm live streaming right now. Earning more money makes me feel better suited for James. He shouldn't be marrying an Omega. He should be marrying a bank. Get some rest, my dear. Okay, Tilda. Andrew. I have an event the day after tomorrow. Could you come with me? One of the sponsors is a snack brand. It's not about the snacks. It's mainly about being with my partner. Andrew remembered the event Oliver mentioned. There were a few hostile attendees at the scene who caused Oliver significant distress, and James had been so focused on dealing with Leo from the newly arrived company that he didn't pay attention to Oliver's feelings, leading to a major conflict between them. To make sure these two don't cause serious trouble or end up in a disaster that could endanger Andrew's life, he had to keep a close watch. The snacks aren't really the main point.
I'm tired.
He yawned.
I worked late today, so I'll take tomorrow off.
The next day, at Zioshi Group, James tried calling Andrew 5 times on the internal line, but couldn't reach him. James, the personal assistant, stepped into the room. Andrew is on leave today. James paused, taken aback. This secretary, who's always seemed to be on duty since joining the company, actually has a day off.
All right, I understand,
James said. The assistant continued with the report. Regarding Leo, I've heard there are several managers in the company who want to get acquainted with him and have plans to invite him for a workout at the swimming facility. James frowned slightly. This assistant is loyal to a few elderly board members and can't stand how quickly these employees are trying to win favor with the new leader.
What about the younger brother?
James asked. Leo had always loved swimming, so these people really knew how to appeal to his interests. The young master said. The assistant's lips twitched slightly.
What did he say?
James asked. The young master said he never wanted to see a swimming pool again in his life. Leo turned down a group of people eager to flatter him and sat in his office, rubbing his temples. Yesterday was just exhausting, wasn't it? How could someone possibly not make it out of the pool? But what did he actually do yesterday? Just put a stop to Andrew's overbearing attitude. After all, he's just an Omega. What kind of effort could that really take? Speaking of which, since giving Andrew a clear lesson yesterday, Leo hadn't seen him at the office today.
Have Andrew submit a meeting summary,
Leo said.
and 2 monthly reports as well.
Andrew is on leave, Daniel said. Leo looked up.
Is he on? Well,
Yesterday, when he firmly made his point about punishment, there was a hint of alpha dominance in his tone. Would Andrew's slender frame have been able to handle that?
No,
Daniel said.
I just checked the system. The reason for leave is the Earth is ending, so I need to save the world.
That was probably just made up,
Andrew isn't ordinary.
Daniel said.
He looks clean and neat, speaks in a gentle voice, but I get the sense he's hiding something, like he's pretending to be harmless, while actually being much more.
Leo gave a quiet nod. He'd been distracted all day and didn't have the energy to focus on Andrew right now. After all, saying the swimming pool turned into the Atlantic Ocean was something nobody would believe.
Time to head off.
He said.
I want to get some rest early tonight.
He drove down the stairs and made his way home steadily, the backyard pool clean and clear. Leo thought for a moment, changed into his swimwear, and stepped into the water. The gentle current wrapped around him, flowing softly and easing away the weariness of the day. Leo got out, went back in, then stepped out again, repeating the cycle several times until he finally sighed with relief. It wasn't the pool's fault. Yesterday night must have just been a dream. He was certain. It's good, the dream is over. And from now on, his life will return to normal. Andrew stayed in his room for most of the day, browsing through various snack shops in this abo world and making a list of places to visit later. The next day, he got into Oliver's car and drove off to the event venue.
Some of the audience might have misunderstandings about you due to what happened earlier.
Oliver's live stream manager said.
Just ignore them, all right?
Oliver responded obediently. Andrew listened without saying a word. This wasn't something that could be solved by simply ignoring it. According to the original story, these people had a favorite host who had a one-sided conflict with Oliver, and they'd sent someone to pour drinks from plastic bottles on him at the event, causing all sorts of trouble.
Team,
Andrew thought to himself as he got out of the car.
is my main ability charged up today?
Yes, 3 uses available. Save them for when you really need them.
Good.
Andrew said. He grabbed Oliver from beside the agent.
Let's go.
The X Game promotional event was packed with people, and the organizers had live-streamed it. Many viewers were crowded into the live stream room, with chat messages flying by rapidly. Oliver again. It's him once more. This young man sure has good connections. Who's the Omega accompanying him? The cool type. I like that vibe. Xiaoxi Group CEO's secretary. I've seen this company's homepage before. And Omega as a chief assistant. He looks so slender. Can he really handle the role? Suddenly, a fan started shouting insults at Oliver and threw things from across the crowd. In the scene, Andrew calmly pushed Oliver forward as an automatic umbrella suddenly unfolded from his right hand, shielding them from a water bottle thrown by an audience member and a splash of liquid hurled through the air. The crowd gasped in surprise. Wow! Is this what a top-tier assistant looks like? Ah! Another audience member charged in, so close. Luckily, Andrew got Oliver out in time. Such impressive experience handling crises, it's clear he's incredibly capable. A real gem of a professional. At the venue entrance, Andrew smoothly executed his retreat maneuver.
Madam,
Andrew said with a flourish.
safe arrival.
The rewind system works well, so long as he does it right. There's no difference between him and the all-powerful Andrew from the original story. Reliable Andrew is back. Meanwhile, at the elevator entrance of Xiaoxi Group, Leo was lost in thought. The private elevator's door has been acting up lately, and when Leo stepped in, he accidentally got caught in it. It was a one-time incident, so Leo didn't pay much attention. He sat back as the elevator slowly rose, with the floor numbers steadily climbing toward his office level. Ding dong. He got caught by the door again. Why did it go back to the first floor? Leo slowly lifted his foot and stepped out of the elevator, walking steadily away from it. A second later, he found himself back in the elevator doors again. Leo didn't move. Oliver's event for today was serving as a commentator for an electronic sports streamer-friendly match. Before starting, he asked the sponsor for some herbal tea and snacks, arranging a small table for Andrew.
This table is really tiny.
Oliver said.
It can only hold little cakes. Andrew, you go first.
That's enough, my lady.
Andrew said.
I don't want to end up like Song Rachen.
Oliver,
I'm off to work then.
Oliver said.
Go ahead.
Andrew said. He handed out a few cakes to the nearby fans, then opened his phone and brought up James's WeChat.
Andrew,
The boss is really kind to his wife. James never shows this much care for any other Omega. Andrew was attentive when helping people with loans, then continued editing his message.
Andrew,
What will James get as a gift for the successful event, gold or diamonds? It's truly enviable.
James.
Diamonds, I guess. I'll go place the order now. That's more like it. Andrew poured himself a cup of floral tea. It was always an unequal marriage. James needed to show more attention for others to understand that Oliver is cherished and not to be taken lightly.
Andrew,
James, the wife has come a long way, I'll show you. He initiated a video call, and the other side connected quickly. Andrew adjusted the camera angle. Showing the scene from the commentary booth on screen, Oliver,
Player is changing tactics.
Number 1 is going for a surprise attack. Commentator shouted. Number 1 is sneaking up from behind, giving the enemy a complete wipeout. Oliver,
Number 3's health has run out. Their final stand begins.
Number 3 just used a flash to reposition. Ha! Commentator B shouted. Andrew,
PFT,
Where's the progress?
James said, his usually serious tone laced with a hint of amused frustration.
Civilization,
Andrew said offhand. James seemed to have just arrived at the office. The person in the frame was walking, and the view wobbled slightly.
Leo,
Andrew heard James ask,
the private elevator is this way. Are you taking the stairs? I prefer the stairs.
Leo said. No surprise there, classic villain behavior.
The meeting room is on the TH floor.
James reminded them.
I like staying active.
Leo said.
All right then.
James said. Still puzzled but respectful.
still working out when you're already that built?
Andrew muttered.
You alpha types really go all in, going offline. James,
He said.
the ladies' session is almost over. I'll go get her some floral tea.
Leo had never liked the stairs so much before. The stairs are good, elevators are not. The stairs are more considerate. They just make you tired. But they don't squeeze you. 15 minutes later, Leo appeared at the meeting room door. An alpha had a suit jacket draped over one arm, and his white shirt was half wet from sweat. He took 2 deep breaths before accepting the water Daniel handed him.
Boss,
Daniel said.
you're really pushing yourself?
What am I pushing so hard for?
Leo asked.
Coming in from outside? Reclaiming what's yours?
Daniel said.
Building the right strength for a power shift. No time wasted even on climbing stairs.
Stop reading too many novels.
Leo said. Xiaoxi Group was an internet media company, deeply tuned into online information flow. Keeping track of real-time trending topics across major platforms was a daily must for every member. Leo had just opened the social platform under Xiaoxi when he spotted his sister-in-law's name.
Oliver and his husband's perfect secretary.
Perfect secretary? Could it be Andrew? He clicked on the video under that message. Still wearing his usual white shirt and tie, Andrew stood beside Oliver with a faint, composed expression, his light-colored lips gently pressed together. In the video, a slender hand grabbed the event organizer's security guard by the sleeve and gently guided them to the side, smoothly blocking an oncoming crowd member.
Stay calm.
Andrew's voice was as light as winter frost.
Yeah.
Oliver, nearly the same height as Andrew, nodded rapidly. A perfect assistant, is he? Leo's fingers tapped idly on the table surface. He remembered that day when he forced him to drive, the brief flash of irritation in the Omega's eyes, and how the other hand had subtly clenched at his side when he nearly lifted him by the cheek. Those vivid moments vanished quickly. The real Andrew was just a calm, sharp-minded, efficient NPC after all.
Daniel,
Leo said aloud.
Yes,
The assistant replied.
can someone really get caught in the same elevator door twice?
Leo asked.
people usually don't,
Daniel said seriously.
but a fool might.
James placed the order at lightning speed, and the gift arrived just in time before the event ended. Oliver held the diamond bracelet and laughed in surprise.
Andrew,
Oliver said,
I almost thought he didn't care about me anymore. Last night when we were walking together, he didn't even step forward with his left foot first.
Andrew, these overly sensitive and melodramatic main characters are like this. At the event venue, he hitched a ride with Oliver's car and strolled back to the office, just in time for dinner. Dinner tonight was grilled bread and caramel pudding.
Andrew carried his tray all the way up to the rooftop terrace.
Intending to find a comfortable spot in the lounge area to enjoy the sunset while eating. The sunset was beautiful, but the seat he had his eye on was already taken. Leo sat at the table with his right hand resting against his cheek, his gaze fixed on Andrew's face. Andrew turned and walked away, but after taking just a few steps,
He heard a voice behind him that carried a hint of mockery.
Andrew, come here.
Andrew paused mid-step, then forced himself forward and sat down across from Leo.
Is there something you need?
Andrew asked.
Yes,
Leo said.
the information in the company's employee database about me is incorrect.
Where is it wrong?
Andrew asked.
Age,
Leo said.
it's not.
Andrew thought without hesitation.
Just wait until next year, then it'll be correct.
Andrew,
Leo said, reaching out to grab the Omega's tie, gently tugging and rubbing it twice before giving a soft pull.
you're the one responsible for maintaining the employee database.
Andrew was pulled slightly forward, finally becoming aware of the tense energy radiating from the Alpha.
Leo said,
Are you not paying enough attention to your new supervisor?
Me, again.
Andrew thought to himself.
The company wouldn't survive without me. This entire story is just me and the antagonist keeping things running. Got it.
Andrew said.
I'll update the young master's information right away.
He grabbed his tray and hurried off. The villain was terrifying. Next time, he'd just restart and run for it. Omega's pace was a bit quick as they left, and Leo found himself feeling oddly uplifted. The city's evening was breathtaking, offering him a long-awaited sense of calm. These past few days at the company must have been overwhelming. Maybe that's why even illusions had started to appear. How could a pool have no edge? Why would an elevator keep trapping people?
Ha ha ha.
Clang. A tennis ball flew through the air and hit Leo on the head.
Sorry, young master.
Daniel rushed over, scrambling on his hands and knees.
I didn't expect to find you here.
it's okay.
Leo said. Daniel left and went back to playing tennis with his friends. That assistant, though a bit talkative, was quite lively, nothing like that cold-hearted secretary. Clang. Leo quickly stepped aside and dodged the tennis ball flying through the air.
Sorry, young master. Good news, didn't hit you.
Daniel scrambled over, panting.
Young master? Young master? Why are you swaying? Help, help.
Daniel cried out.
I've hurt the young master with my ball.
Downstairs, in James's office, Andrew slammed a file folder down in front of James.
James,
Andrew said.
think before you speak.
He paused to consider it. His original thought
If that's how you see it, I can't change your mind.
didn't quite feel right.
Oliver,
James said.
I didn't mean it that way. I'm not bothering you. I have a meeting to attend soon.
Oh, all right then.
Oliver's voice came through the phone.
I'll wait for you when you get back.
The call ended. Andrew let out a sigh of relief. Rollback coin purse received, seconds. No wonder it's such a dramatic couple. Something so small could cause an argument. But thankfully, after the rollback and retry, Oliver didn't get upset again. Andrew was amazing, successfully spared James from a really tough situation.
I'm done for the day.
Andrew said.
It's time to go.
All right,
James said.
you can rest now.
Andrew dashed off. Several senior company members, who had been waiting by the door for a long time, walked in.
James,
One of them said, It's time we talk to Leo. We need to figure out how to handle him. I still hold my previous opinion. Another said, His ambition toward the company is hard to ignore, and he's constantly showing hostility toward you. That's right, James, said a third. Just wait and see, he'll probably start with some kind of challenge as soon as he walks in. James frowned slightly, saying nothing. At p.m. the scheduled meeting time arrived, and Leo stepped into James's conference room. A few senior executives hid in James's office, quietly preparing to eavesdrop on this young man's bold statements.
Brother,
Leo began, his expression serious. He's here, right now. The senior executives thought to themselves. Two tigers can't share one mountain. These two are about to clash.
Who?
James replied, looking up with a hint of tension toward his younger brother. With such seriousness, was he about to accuse him of poor management or bad business decisions? James leaned in, fully focused. Leo.
Is there a leak within the company?
James replied calmly.
The company has...
Behind the secret door of the president's office, several senior executives were whispering, "A leak. Should we pause the talks?" Executive 1 asked. "Is he talking about us?" "Stay calm," said Executive 3. "The young master isn't as threatening as you make him out to be." At the desk, Leo appeared completely composed, though in reality, he had been lifeless for some time. James was fully prepared. Having rehearsed nearly dozens of responses for any possible questions, but Leo had thrown a question so far out of reach it felt like it came from another planet. James took a sip of tea to calm himself.
It shouldn't be... Never mind.
In just a few seconds, Leo was back to his usual composed demeanor.
Is there something you need? No. Then I'll head out for the day.
Leo calmly turned and left the office.
Well, what about this?
Elder 1 was completely confused. Didn't he invite us? Seriously, Elder 2 said. I prepared a 10,000-word essay. Practiced it over a dozen times. Even worked on my intense glare expression, just to challenge his views, and he just swept away my entire effort, like nothing. He's not entirely wrong. Elder 3 spoke up. If you love performing so much, go take the stage elsewhere.
Enough.
James slammed the table.
Stop arguing. Elder 2's management style is decisive and effective, but some things do need to evolve with time. Don't keep targeting him. Both he and I are sons of Dad, and this company belongs to him just as much as it does to me. Speaking of which,
James said,
we should schedule the family dinner for this weekend. Andrew.
James called on the phone.
Take care of it.
Andrew wasn't sure what to do. The next day, he picked a restaurant near home that he liked, printed out an invitation, and prepared to deliver it to Leo. Should we bring a few coins just in case Leo gets upset? We can restart if things go bad.
No.
Andrew said.
A simple attack isn't going to take down my ultimate move. Speak clearly.
Andrew said.
Stop showing off with those shaky tones.
How could the system even have shakiness? It's your nerves making it shake for me. Come on. Who's afraid of a villain? He remembered from the original story how, during one pool party, Andrew had said something that offended Leo, and ended up being held down in the water.
Putting someone under the pool?
Andrew said.
That's a truly villainous move.
As he chatted with the system, he knocked on Leo's office door. The door creaked open, but there was no one in sight. Andrew tilted his head for a few seconds, then opened the internal app of Xiaoxi Group. Leo on leave. Daniel on leave. Reason for leave: the world is ending, so I need to go save it. If this sounds familiar, it's just a coincidence. Using his secretary privileges, he accessed Leo's WeChat ID on the information page and sent a friend request. The other person seemed to be busy, so the request wasn't accepted. He tapped on the profile page and saw that the age listed was, quickly adjusted it as well. Andrew returned to his office, opened the employee database, and updated Leo's age. The database had surprisingly detailed information. So Andrew glanced through a few more entries. Leo stood at an impressive cm, very tall. His hobbies and talents included swimming and wood carving. Nothing special, really. What can you do? The system asked.
I'm good at being silly,
Andrew said. He closed Leo's profile and opened his own.
Time to get to know yourself,
Andrew said.
I really am. As simple as a blank sheet of paper.
Andrew's profile was completely empty, with only a small line of text on the page. Medical records pending upload. How about taking some time to get a health checkup? The system suggested. It would also be good to find out what your pheromones are like.
Andrew.
The office intercom rang.
Come downstairs to greet a client. I'm on my way,
Andrew said. Outside the city, in a quiet meditation room, The master lit incense, and the room was simple and serene. Stay calm. Focus your mind, the master said. By directing your attention to your fingertips, you can shape a flower of the soul. Leo washed his hands, surrounded by the calming scent of sandalwood incense, and picked up the knife to carve floral patterns into the wood in his hand, with dead wood blooming into flowers and incense swirling in the air. Leo's mind gradually became still. Wood carving carves wood, but also shapes the heart, said the master. Ding dong. Suddenly, the wooden carving in Leo's hand reverted back to plain wood. Focus your mind, the master said. The knife turned halfway in Leo's hand, and the blade smoothly settled against the wood. Wood shavings fell gently, and the old timber seemed to bloom again. Ding dong. The master took a sip of tea and said, "Focus your mind. Move slowly and stay steady. The wood will respond." The master took a sip of tea and chuckled. "Are you sharpening a pencil?" At Xiaoshi Group, Andrew politely gestured, inviting James into the meeting room.
James,
Andrew said.
the client is already waiting for you.
Got it.
James said.
Good job, Andrew.
You're too kind.
Andrew said.
Just give me a salary increase of 2,000. No need for more than that.
Outside the meeting room, employees were praising him enthusiastically. Textbook-level hospitality. An employee said. Andrew did an outstanding job.
Not at all.
Andrew said. I really can't take credit for that. He once mistook a client, and another time he showed off his tea skills by nearly knocking over a teacup onto a guest's head. Thankfully, I was there to save Andrew's reputation.
Andrew asked, how much rewind currency do we have left?
Just seconds remaining. James had been busy with the 2 minting devices these past 2 days, unable to meet up, so their emotional bond hadn't grown at all. And Andrew hadn't made any gains either.
Then we'll need to be careful how we spend it.
Andrew said.
I'm going to take a day off from rewinding.
Outside the city, Leo stepped out of the meditation room holding a wooden stick.
Congratulations, boss.
Daniel greeted him from the courtyard while sipping tea.
Another abstract creation.
Leo's lips curved slightly. He weighed the stick in his hand, then tossed it up with a casual motion. Daniel caught the stick and turned around. Leo was already heading toward the parking area. Daniel glanced at the stick in his hand, then at the car. Fine then, I'll find a box to store it and bring it over to young master's place as decoration. The car sped away, kicking up a cloud of dust. Leo's gaze drifted calmly toward the window.
I'm going to take 2 more days off,
Leo said, brushing his fingers across the watch face on his left hand. Rather than wait passively, he decided to take charge. Now he'd keep a close eye on things and see exactly what was going on. Training a hawk, meaning exhaust it through unethical methods. The living room television was broadcasting Animal World. Andrew held his phone, carefully choosing a health checkup package. The medical screenings in this abode world were quite complicated, and he wasn't sure what to pick, afraid of missing something important, so he reached out to Oliver on WeChat.
Andrew, dear, which one do you think is better?
Oliver, either package or package would work well. I like that both include a compatibility test.
Andrew, then let's go with package. It includes breakfast.
Andrew quickly placed the order and scheduled his appointment for the day after tomorrow.
and still not asleep. Dear
Oliver, I got scolded again. My brother came into my live stream and gave me a hard time.
Andrew, fight back.
Kind words build good connections.
Harsh words feel surprisingly satisfying.
got it.
Good night, dear. I'm turning in too. The eagle didn't sleep all night and hadn't closed its eyes during the day.
The TV kept playing. Andrew turned off the TV with a snap and lay down to sleep. One day later, a car pulled up at the Central City Hospital, its emblem drawing curious glances from passers-by. The assistant opened the door, and Leo in a tailored suit stepped out, adjusting his tie with a calm gesture, his presence carrying an intense stillness. His dark, serious expression made the front desk staff flinch slightly. Hello, the front desk staff asked. Let me check. Your appointment is for... Psychology. Leo replied briefly, his voice weary from a sleepless night. Go right at the 3rd floor, the staff said. It's next to the health checkup center. On the 3rd floor staircase, Andrew was holding his own health report, chatting with the system.
I'm grape flavor.
He said.
Not bad.
Oliver was red date flavor, and James was quaseed flavor.
System?
He asked.
What's Leo's flavor? It doesn't seem to be mentioned in the book.
The window down the hallway was open, and a gust of wind blew his medical report out of his hand. Andrew lunged forward.
Come back here!
He crashed into a solid chest and nearly knocked himself dizzy.
Sorry?
He said. That voice. Andrew stepped back. Why would the antagonist be here? Leo held on to his medical report, his gaze drifting lightly past Andrew's cheek.
Please give it back,
Andrew said.
Andrew.
Leo looked up from the report, a slight curve forming on his lips.
Your body fat percentage is too low.
That's none of your business,
Andrew said, reaching out and taking the report back. Leo's gloomy mood from the entire day vanished all at once. He stared at the Omega fleeing in haste, and the tense atmosphere around him began to ease slightly. He walked into the psychologist's office, feeling refreshed and light-hearted. Hello, Leo, the doctor said. What seems to be troubling you? Things that had happened recently were truly unusual, and Leo hesitated before speaking. It's all right, Leo, the doctor said. There's no need to feel embarrassed. I'll listen carefully. Outside the hospital, at a bus stop, a bus was just starting to pull away.
Stop right now.
Andrew shouted, sprinting after it. The bus sped off into the distance, releasing a thick cloud of exhaust fumes. Andrew was breathing hard, like a dog panting after running.
Run, I'll make you run,
Andrew said.
Rewind seconds, bow your head down.
In the office, Leo hesitated but spoke quickly about his bizarre experience. Good, it's out now. Feels better? And Leo let out a sigh of relief. Leo, the doctor said with a gentle smile. Hello. What seems to be troubling you? The doctor in the clinic didn't get a response right away, and patiently asked again. Leo. Leo took a breath, then said,
I feel like I'm drowning in a pool, unable to reach the other side.
The doctor began taking notes.
Broken doors crackle and snap. Carved figures won't bloom with focus.
The doctor's brow furrowed.
Words I've held back go unanswered.
Crack, the doctor's pen tip snapped. Can't understand. Can't understand, that's right. Leo said with a quiet laugh. Step back quickly, I'll start over. At the hospital entrance, by the bus stop, Andrew stared at the departing bus and felt dizzy. Excuse me. If the bus went back, wouldn't you not have to go back either? Would you still go back? Race your past self again?
Shut up,
Andrew said.
Let's wait for the next one.
In the examination room, Leo's smile gradually faded, and a quiet expression began to appear on the doctor's face. Leo, the doctor said, handing over the report. Your brain function readings are all within normal range, and your scale scores are also normal. This is your diagnosis? Leo flipped open the diagnosis result. Is there anything else you'd like to ask? The doctor kindly inquired.
Nope,
Leo said, rising from his seat and leaving the room. He walked down the hallway, where a few nurses were chatting near the health center. Where's that Omega who came in earlier? The head nurse asked. Wasn't he supposed to have a genetic disease test? The test requires family accompaniment, one nurse replied. He said he'd come back another time. As Leo reached the hospital entrance, a heavy rain poured down in sudden bursts, and Daniel was waiting there under an umbrella.
Boss, let's go,
said Daniel, who stood nearly 6 feet tall, opening his umbrella wide. At 7 feet 3 inches tall, Leo suddenly felt dizzy. In that moment, he suddenly recalled the scene from the video, Andrew expertly opening his umbrella to shield Oliver from a sudden splash of rain. Daniel stumbled slightly as he stepped forward.
What's wrong?
Leo asked.
I suddenly felt a wave of job insecurity,
Daniel said. The rain poured heavily. The bus stop canopy was small, offering only a tiny patch of shelter, Andrew kept shifting and pressed himself against the billboard edge.
Can you summon an umbrella?
Andrew asked. I'm a coin purse, not a convenience store,
Didn't you have a knife last time?
Andrew said. That was just someone's private little toy. A gust of wind swept up raindrops, soaking half of Andrew. The season's rain was bitterly cold, and he shivered instantly. Car horns blared. A familiar car stopped in front of him, the window rolling down to reveal Leo's face.
Get in.
Leo said.
No way.
Andrew said. Who would get into a villain's car?
Add my wet chat. Is there something?
Leo asked.
Come on in and talk.
Andrew suddenly remembered there was indeed that matter, the Jayan family's dinner party tonight, which he hadn't yet invited Leo to. Andrew jumped into the car. The windows blocked out the loud sound of rain, and the warm interior made him sigh in relief.
Since you're riding along, don't just sit there.
Daniel said from the driver's seat.
Andrew, take over driving.
Andrew was about to stand up when Leo gently pushed him back down.
Stay put.
Leo said.
I've already got someone else in mind for driving.
He didn't want to experience a sudden burst of speed again. Daniel smoothly drove the car forward.
Spit it out.
Leo said, turning his gaze to the person sitting upright beside him.
What do you need me for?
To welcome you back home.
Andrew said.
Tonight, James asked me to organize a dinner party in your honor.
Leo replied casually.
Where is it?
Andrew mentioned a restaurant name. Leo raised an eyebrow.
Why this place?
The restaurant has a modern style that suits your demeanor well, and the name also fits the warm atmosphere of a family gathering.
Andrew said.
There are plenty of dining options. The space is quite large, and there are guests as well as staff present.
The top half of Omega's white shirt was soaked by the rain, clinging to his body with a translucent sheen, partially covering his slender shoulders and back. Andrew's hair tips were dampened by mist, a small droplet forming at the edge of his neck that trailed down toward his collarbone, leaving a faint trace behind.
Oh right.
Andrew said, losing his train of thought and quickly changing the subject.
I've already updated your information at work.
Thank you.
Leo said.
Please, update it once more for me.
Andrew said.
Wait, did you just get younger again?
Hobbies?
Leo said.
Delete them all. Leave it blank.
Hope you find a new hobby soon.
Andrew said. The car pulled up at the Zyoshi Group building, and Andrew took the elevator to the upper floor, stopping by James's office. James wasn't around, but Oliver was seated at his desk, streaming a game of match puzzles.
The streamer isn't blind,
Oliver said.
Match the ones on the right. The next move will trigger chain reactions.
Hearing the door open, Oliver looked up.
Andrew's back.
Oliver said.
Today's dessert is pineapple cupcakes.
It always felt like this treat was stealing his lines. But he really was hungry, so Andrew decided to eat a few bites first.
I was live streaming today when my brother called me and criticized me. I told him off.
Oliver said.
What did he say?
Andrew asked.
He kept saying, "You're shameless. You're shameless. You're shameless."
Oliver said sadly.
How did you respond?
Andrew said.
I told him, "You're the one who's shameless."
Oliver said.
That's progress.
Andrew said.
But next time, if he says shameless over and over again, tell him to transfer to a human operator.
In this abo world, people have an incredibly deep understanding of sense, and the food they create is consistently delicious. One pineapple cupcake made Andrew feel incredibly cheerful, way beyond ordinary.
Andrew,
Oliver said.
Stop eating. Why is your clothes so wet?
The bus was going too fast.
Andrew said.
Stop wearing it right away.
Oliver said, taking the cupcake off the table.
You'll feel awful if you get sick.
Andrew's fork poked at thin air, faintly in his ear. He heard a familiar coin purse sound, like it had just reached its scheduled moment. I don't have any spare clothes with me, Andrew said. I've got some, Oliver said, standing up and pulling a suitcase from the corner of the office.
We're about the same height. Whatever I can wear, you'll be able to too.
This one's brand new. Oliver searched.
Madam,
Andrew asked curiously.
Why do you have such a big suitcase in James's office?
I've seen it here several times when I came to work.
So I can leave in a hurry if I ever need to walk out during an argument with my husband.
Oliver said. They're such cliché drama protagonists,
I found it.
Oliver said.
Just wear this.
Andrew took a white hoodie and some casual pants from him and went to change in the locker room. He stood with his back to the mirror, turned around, and stared silently at the two dangling bunny ears on the hoodie's hood for a moment. Indeed, the book mentioned that Oliver's style tends to be on the cute side.
Andrew, you look perfect in this.
Oliver exclaimed. Perfect. Andrew wasn't sure. But it's warm, that's what matters.
Madam,
He glanced at the wall clock.
it's about time. We should head to the family dinner now.
Leo enjoyed a cup of tea in his office, finished up some work, and when the clock reached 6 o'clock, he headed downstairs and drove to the location of the family dinner. Andrew had chosen a spot that was truly tricky, close to the office, but with a difficult route. It wasn't clear what exactly could have attracted such a diligent little assistant. The diligent little assistant always wore the same white shirt and kept a cool, expressionless face. Leo shut his car door and turned around. There they were, two snowy white rabbit ears swaying gently.
I did what you told me.
Oliver said right after hanging up with his brother.
He's mad now. That's good.
Rabbit said.
Doesn't that seem risky?
Oliver asked.
After all, he is your real brother.
Not really.
Rabbit said. This counts as an internal resolution.
James, good to see you.
Andrew said with a casual nod toward the newcomer.
We've been waiting for you. Please take your seat.
The family gathering wasn't very crowded, just a few relatives from the Giant family, and the rest were company executives. Leo sat down across from Andrew, and the dinner officially began. Everyone raised their glasses, and Andrew's gaze passed through the rim, locking onto the roasted chicken wings across the table. So fragrant, can't wait to eat it. Leo, sitting close by, had already taken two. Everyone set their glasses down. James reached for the roast duck, but it vanished in a flash as someone spun it away. Andrew was frantically spinning the table, straining to get the chicken wings within reach. Why are you all staring at me? Why does it feel like only the villains want me? Leo was focused on his chicken wing, feeling hungry. After one bite, warmth spread through him. Sensing the stir at the table, he looked up, then slowly lifted his lips into a smile. The perfect little secretary made a mistake. This was truly satisfying. Clang. The warmth faded. The chicken wing he'd just eaten reappeared whole at the bottom of his bowl. Here we go again. Ha! Well then, he'd hold off on eating. This time, he wanted to see the whole thing unfold. Andrew's mistake. Leo lifted his head, waiting quietly for what was about to happen. Across the table, James had just turned his attention to the roast duck. Andrew's eyes flickered slightly. Then he picked up the shared chopsticks, took a piece of duck, placed it in James's bowl, and pushed it toward Oliver.
Here you go, madam.
Andrew said.
This is from James.
Before I go, I just want to say I really enjoyed this story. It's definitely a slow burn romance, so if you're looking for instant love at first sight, this might not be that kind of story. But what completely hooked me was the rewind ability. Most stories use time travel to save the world. This guy uses it to survive office life honestly. That's relatable. And I think that's why the main character is so fun. He's not a genius, he's not overpowered. Half the time he's just panicking and trying not to get caught. Meanwhile, the villain keeps connecting the dots and slowly realizing something is very wrong. So now I have a question for you. Who do you like more? The chaotic secretary who's surviving with unlimited undo buttons, or the villain who's the only bug to notice the rewinds? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one. And now for the animation behind the scenes. The hardest scene in this video was actually the elevator scene. I wanted the villain to walk out of the elevator. Simple, right? Nope. The AI kept making him walk into the elevator. Again and again and again. I rerolled so many times that I started questioning my own sanity. At one point, I had to eat some potato chips and take a break before trying again. Thank you for supporting, and I'll see you in the next story.